to do with the particular situation. Yeah. Ultimately, it's up to each sovereign nation to decide whether.
Let's create mobs and Republicans create jobs. And he called the Democratic candidate challenging Senator Heller, Jackie.
Do that. He got some agreement from perhaps a surprising quarter, Democratic Senator Ben Cardin. Listen to this.
This caravan should be dealt with before it comes to the United States. That is true. Those that have legitimate asylum requests should be handled with the respect that we give to asylum seekers. Those who are not part of that should not hopefully get into Mexico, let alone into the United States. But let me just tell the president, we need comprehensive immigration reform. The border wall will not stop a caravan from coming into the United States.
Well, one could argue with that. I mean, we've seen images of migrants climbing various border fences in the United States. One could argue that a border wall might work. But what about his larger point? I mean, not everybody in that caravan can be an asylum seeker, can they?
No, and it would be ridiculous to assume that. I mean, this is not a place.
You saw the president made that announcement right here on the tarmac in Elko on his way back to Air Force One. And it's
look, one thing that comes to mind as we watch this is we should look also carefully at what the European Union is doing. They also have a migrant crisis, and the way that they've kind of resolved this. And it's more difficult for them because there are multiple countries coming together to try to resolve this. And Italy and Greece and some of the other countries that are getting bombarded by people desperately coming on these crafts, and some drowning at sea, but ending up on their shores. You know, what do they do with these people? They've come to an agreement.
Fist fight, calling his death regrettable. Of course, many are reluctant to take the Saudis at their word. Benjamin Hall is live in Istanbul with the latest. Benjamin?
Yeah, hi, John. As you pointed out, there's been widespread criticism of the Saudi Arabian
cases of most of the migrants coming into Europe. In this case, it may mean setting up centers in Mexico or Central America in which there can be some sort of processing, so we don't see the ridiculous situation that we've seen with this border bridge.
I want to read for you a Fox News poll about border security specifically when asked how President Trump is handling
to Istanbul and were caught on CCTV. Now, what Saudi Arabia is claiming is that there was a fight inside the consulate which led to his death, that a team had been sent from Riyadh to talk to him or perhaps to bring him back. We're not sure. The point that they're making is that it was not sanctioned by the royal family. According to Saudi Arabia, when Khashoggi arrived at the consulate and he saw the men, there was an altercation. He tried
regarding building the wall and so forth, or whether they actually want him to get tougher.
Yeah, those numbers are a little bit confusing because
strangling him to death. Two high-ranking officials have now also been implicated by Saudi.
20%. We're coming toward the middle here, so there's consensus. I mean, this is why this is such a contentious issue, John. It's because people really feel passionate about it, and it needs to be tackled. And indeed, Congress needs to figure out what to do long term, because we're going to be here time and time again.
Well, and Americans are a compassionate people, but there are limits.
Absolutely, John, and you got to do it right. We can be compassionate, but we can't be stupid about how we handle it.
In the Ronald Reagan era, we reformed the immigration laws, and that was supposed to end this problem once and for all. And now we find ourselves with, what, 10, 12 million illegal immigrants in this country.
Yeah, we're a country of immigrants. We should know how to do this. We can get it right. We need to do it compassionately, but intelligently.
Jonathan Wachtel, good to have you on. Thank you. Well, there are new details on a possible second summit between President Trump and North Korean leader Kim Jong-un. A senior Trump official, I should say, tells us when it...
And also, what about those tapes that Turkey claimed to have, which apparently are evidence that he...
U.S. takes official action against election interference as one state becomes the model for voting.
Countries are trying to work together to improve their relationship, but I think the more important relationship, which we have to look at right now, is between Saudi Arabia and the U.S. and how that...
Aggressively for Republican candidates. Will it be enough to keep the House for Republicans? Our guest weighs in.
We're still seeing Democrats holding in congressional districts.
Bad people in the caravan. You have some very tough criminal elements within the caravan. But I will see.
Fender biter. Seen it, covered it. We know a thing or two because we've seen a thing or two.
We are farmers. Bum, 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 bum.